Hello, fight fans, and welcome to the Combat Challenge podcast. My guest today is a lightweight athlete with a professional record of 3 wins and only 1 defeat. He is signed and competes under 1 championship promotion, Mr. Furqan, the Lion Cheema. Assalamu alaikum, my brother. So nice to see you.
Wa alaikum assalam. It's good to see you too, brother. Thank you for having me on the show.
The first thing I want to ask you, brother Furqan, is the name, the Lion. Can you tell myself and the viewers where this name came from?
Yeah, brother. So that nickname came from your very good friend, Carl Messon. Yeah, man. So as you know, I was managed by Carl. And when, once Carl signed me over, from that point, he decided to go for that name, the Lion. So he was saying to me, he said, look, Furqan, we need to choose a name for you. And I was like, what nickname? I've never had a nickname. And then he just said it. He says, I'm going to go for the Lion. And then since then, bro, I've just stuck with it. So yeah, Carl was the man who set all that up.
And you've known Carl for a while, haven't you?
Yeah. I remember the days when he used to come across to, he would fight under yourself at Combat MMA. And I used to come for sparring sessions. And I remember he used to have that long hairdo, that famous long hairdo. But yeah, I've known Carl since then. And yeah, man, it's always been really close, even with my dad. And, you know, I've always had a good relationship with Carl.
Yeah, he's a nice guy. And that hairdo with those blonde streaks, it looked like he should be surfing on some beach, shouldn't he, instead of being in a cage.
It definitely does, bro. Yeah, man. But Carl, he's an awesome guy, man. And as you know, man, he's always been good to us.
Furqan, you've been involved in MMA for a while, but what I'd like to know, and I'm sure the viewers would like to know, is your martial arts journey. From a young age, what sort of sports did you get into, and how did you go on that conveyor belt to where you are now?
So mainly, bro, I was like into the football side of things. I used to play football. My dad used to always take me. So I used to play in the Sunday League football. And then just like 10 years ago, my family decided to open a gym. So my cousin decided to open a gym, which he named KBW. And it started off as an MMA gym. So it's known as a boxing gym now, but it actually kicked off as an MMA gym, as you remember. And at that point, I remember also the Combat Challenge shows. So we used to have the Combat Challenge shows, and the family used to take me across to the Combat Challenge shows, and then we used to watch the cage fighting and the MMA side. And that itself got me the interest towards competing. So I think my first competition was at the age of 21, and again, it was on Combat Challenge. So it was quite a late age, but you know, like I had like roughly a year experience of training with the family. And then from there, obviously down the line, KBW went into a boxing gym. And then from there, I decided to go across and continue with MMA. So I've always stood with MMA. I've had a few boxing fights here and there, but MMA has been the sport that I've actually been following and competing in. As you know, as well with my family, I've got my elder brother who was into the MMA side and also kickboxing. And then also I've got my younger brother who was a professional boxer. And then I've got my father who's actually an English boxing referee for the ABS. So my family have been involved in the combat sports. And with myself, in the amateur days, I actually traveled quite a fair bit to different gyms. So I trained under yourself. I trained with ABT. So I had a bit of a mixed journey with the amateur days. Again, you know, I've had a few breaks in the amateur career. I only gained like 11 fights. But yeah, the journey itself has been interesting. I've had hit and miss, but I've been enjoying it. You know, like I've built the journey towards going into the professional ranks. And, you know, now in the professional ranks, you know, like it's just starting off now, the big journey. So yeah, it's been a good journey. Different coaches, different gyms. But now, you know, I've managed to settle at SBG, and this is where I think my career is going to end.
Okay. And you mentioned SBG. Can you tell me a little bit about who the coaches are there and which town is it based in?
Yeah, so SBG is based in Bradford, formerly known as Team Fully Kazan. The head coach is Mark Spencer. So he's the coach that's controlling everything for myself. So basically, Seth, I joined with SBG immediately straight after the One Championship fight, which was my 4th professional fight. And it came to a point where previously with my old coaches, I had Tani, who were coaching me, who was the boxing coach at KBW. I had Jamie Paxman, who was Gracie Barr at Huddersfield. And then also I had Jay Hansen, who was Team Hansen in Huddersfield. And they were my 3 coaches when I turned professional. And with them guys, I had 3 fights. And the moment I had the one championship fight, at that point, I decided, right, it's time for me to change things up just because I wanted to go into an MMA gym. Because what I used to do was I used to train like in different disciplines. So I decided to go to an MMA gym and I thought, I did a few trials. I went to a local gym, I trialed there for about a month and a half. And then also I trialed it with Mark Spencer at SBG. And at that point, I knew Mark's going to be the best decision. I've known Mark from before, and I just connected with Mark, and I thought it's going to be the right decision, the best decision for myself to continue my journey now.
And what is it about Mark Spencer, also known as Spenner? What is it about Spenner and SBG Bradford that's kind of drawn you, and eventually you've ended up making that into your base?
Yeah, well, firstly, it's a local gym, and as you know, I've competed a lot in Bradford, and I do spend a lot of time in Bradford, so it's a local gym. But mainly, the decision I made was just because with Mark, he's got an experience with obviously the MMA sector. He's been a professional fighter before. He's fought under Cage Warriors, but also his coaching style. That's what attracted me. So when I went under Mark, I did my trial session. The way he coaches is ideal for myself. He's very basic. He works on a lot of technicalities, and he's really informative with your coaching. He's giving you a lot of feedback, and that for me worked. I needed a vocal coach like that. I needed someone who's going to help me technically get better. There's gyms where you can go and spar hard and etc. But really, you need a coach that's going to give you that, time. And with Mark, immediately, he started giving me a lot of time. And this is the reason why I went for Mark. And another thing as well with Mark, I've known him from previous, with a lot of his fighters. I've known a lot of his fights before. I've sparred at Mark's place. And he's always just been good to me. And at that point, I knew Mark's going to be best for me. As you know, with Mark, he's created a lot of good fighters, from the amateur stage going into the pro ranks. He has created a lot of good fighters. He's got good coaching skills and he's proven it. He's proven with a lot of fighters, that he's a good coach. And I thought for me, that's what I need. I need a coach that's going to build me technically, improve my game, but also all round. And I just get along with him so well. So yeah, Mark's perfect for me. And as you know, Seth, he taught you as well. He helped you out in your journey, and yourself. He's a really good coach. So yeah.
Oh, he definitely did. For years, I trained under Spencer, and the fundamentals and the basics and the foundation and building it up. It was great and very relaxed to talk to. So yeah. I get what you're saying. Now with one, it's good that you get on with Spencer because you need that good relationship. But also the brand, the SBG, it's a strong brand now. I've already did an interview with Matt Inman, who's part of SBG Manchester. I've interviewed David Grant, who's in the UFC, and he's part of SBG. And then I've interviewed Martin Stapleton, who's got SBG Rochdale. I'm in the process of interviewing Alex Unlund, who's got SBG South Shield. So it's a brand that when I speak to them, I know that they have so much to offer. So I can understand why you decided to go down that road where it's not just the SBG Bradford, but then they can branch out and they can connect. And I assume you can cross-train if you need to once this COVID is all sorted out, right?
Yeah, so basically when I joined, that was one of the questions, obviously I do need the hard sparring, especially being on the stage of one championship, you need to be fully prepared. And that's what Mark, we discussed about, that were one of the main factors as well. Technically, under Mark, I'm going to work on everything. And that's what we're doing. We're working on everything. But when it comes to fight camp sparring, we've got the SBG brand where we can go to all these other gyms like the Manchester, Rochdale, or up towards Newcastle. These are the gyms that we can go to. And this is the options that we've got. So that itself ticked the box because I knew I've got the sparring. So it's really good because now I'm working on the technicalities, I'm working on improving myself. But then when it comes to fight camp, I'm going to have the opportunity to get so many sparring partners. And with SBG, you've got it all there. So it's going to be really good. I'm looking forward to it. And it's not even just at SBG. SBG is the MMA gym and, every instruction is under Mark. But also I train elsewhere as well. I've got Headstrong where I'm doing my strength and conditioning. I've got Baba Rahim at Game Fight who's helping me a lot towards my jiu-jitsu. So there's also my boxing. I'm working with Abid, who is the coach of world champion Josh Warrington. I've got a good selection of coaches. Again, Mark is the man who's in control, but we're also working alongside with these other coaches to kind of build my game up. So yeah, looking forward to the journey ahead.
Furqan, the question that I would like to know is, Tell me a day in the life of Furqan the Lion Cheema. What sort of training do you do on an average day, without this COVID stuff happening?
Well, I'm still training 6 times a week, and usually it can be 2 to 3 times per day. So I am quite active at the moment. It has been difficult, but with the situation at the moment, I'm getting a lot of one-to-ones. So I'm working a lot on a one-to-one basis with a coach. So, for example, on a Thursday, that's just one of the days. I'll give you an example where in the morning I'll go at 7 o'clock to strength and conditioning, and I'll work with my coach Mikey on the strength basis. And then going on towards like the afternoon, I'll slide in a kickboxing session, and again that'll be on a one-to-one basis. And then going on towards the evening, it'll go on to jiu-jitsu drills and moving on to wrestling. So it is quite an active day, but it's been really difficult because of obviously the COVID situation. But I'm just grasping it. Luckily enough, I'm a professional athlete, so I get that opportunity where I can train with my coaches. But obviously, the only downfall is we're not getting much sparring in. But it don't really matter. Technically, I've been learning so much, and just my knowledge of the game has been building. There's been so many. When I remember when I started the journey where I started training with under SBG, the amount of mistakes I was making and silly things I was doing, and now just to rectify them, and now look so many months ahead and just see the progression that I've had within myself has been brilliant. So everything's going on the right plan, and we're taking it positively.
And what time does your day normally end? And say on that Thursday, what time would you kind of get back home?
So usually, bro, like say for example, on that Thursday, I'll start at 7 in the morning, and then it'll go usually towards like I'll give it a bit of a break, and about 3 o'clock ish, I'll start one of the kickboxing sessions, and then that'll go for like an hour and a little bit, and then I'll go back home, I'll rest for a bit, and then I'll start roughly about 6:30, all the way usually to 8:30. So it's quite a productive day. And as you know, I'm working as well, so I'm working during the days. But luckily enough, when I'm working at the moment, they give me a lot of support, and I'm getting the opportunity to actually train. So my training hasn't gone down. I've been very, very active with the gym, and yeah, everything's been going good. I can't. Like I says, COVID, it's been a blessing as well. The whole lockdown procedure, it has been a little bit of a blessing because I've got a lot of one-to-one times with coaches. I've got to know my coaches. I've got to, they've got to understand where I'm lacking, where I need to improve. And that's been the great thing. The only downfall is no competition. But then in a way now, I look at it as a positive thing because I've had like a whole year or so just working on weaknesses, improving, getting better. When I started with SBG, the lockdown procedure kicked in, and unfortunately it came to a point where I had to do a lot of one-to-ones. So one of my one-to-ones was with Steve and also Baba. And Baba, as you know, is a brown belt, very strong guy, solid. And I remember I used to have a session with Baba, one-to-one, and we'll grapple. And then I'll also have a session with Steve and we'll do a one-to-one and grapple. And honestly, I remember, Seth, the first like possibly 4 months I used to go home, I felt like crying, bro, because I was literally just getting smashed. I'm not lying to you, I was literally getting smashed, like I was just heartbroken. I thought at one point, bro, I questioned it. I thought, you know what? I don't think I'm made for this MMA. I've just realized after so many years doing it, I've realized I don't think I'm made for this MMA stuff because it was just really, really, really tough. And, I was just getting submitted. I was just getting, like torture, bro. I was just getting smashed. But you know what, bro? When I went past that 4 month stage and slowly I started seeing the development, and slowly I started seeing, what? I'm actually starting giving them a tough time now. I'm starting to give them a bit of a game. And, I had a review not so long ago. And within that review, there were a lot of positive remarks. And they turned around, they said, look, you know what? At first, we used to enjoy smashing this guy, but now we hate rolling with this guy. But this is what I mean, Seth. It's all development. And I've realized, you know what? Sometimes you have to go through the rough to get out in the smooth. And, for me, that was the rough side. I realized then, wow, this is just another level. But you know what? Now I've come to that stage where I've seen it. Now I enjoy it. I really enjoy training. I love it. Like it's just I've got a new buzz about it now. So yeah, sometimes I think you have to just dig deep and just keep taking beatings, and then slowly you'll outcome, and you'll get better.
Well, the thing is, Furqan, you came to a crossroad, it sounds like, and if you'd have gone left, that would have been the easy road, and right was the rough road. You went right and you persevered, and now you're enjoying it more, right?
Yeah, 100%. It's strange because before, when I used to compete amateur and stuff, and like I said, before I turned pro, I had a 2-year break, and I never really, like, I did train, but I never really had that full enjoyment. I just kind of did it just because, you know, it was just there, and, you know, I kind of like, I didn't give my 100%. And now, you know, like the way I class it, like my persona now is just, I'm a different, total different person, you know, like now I just love training. Where sometimes, you know, it used to be a little bit, I think it was just more like, you know, I used to just train and just, yeah, I'll go fight, you know, and whatever. But it wasn't really like my full dedication to it. Where now I just love learning, you know, like it's a different aspect of the game where now I like learning things. I ask so many questions, you know, I'm going home watching stuff, you know, I've got this different kind of like attitude towards the game. And that's what I'm looking forward to. You know, I feel as if now I'm a total different person to what I was. But I feel as if that 2-year break that I had from MMA completely before I turned professional was a good thing because it's made me reflect on many things. And since I've come back, you know, I've really like, I've just changed into a different person now. You know, I'm just a total different person towards training. My attitude towards training is different. Even the days where I don't feel like going to the gym, I'll go because, you know, they're the days that you actually enjoy at the end. You feel quite proud about. So, yeah, different person now.
You've had loads of fights, Furqan. Out of all those fights, can you share with myself and the viewers which one was most rewarding? Don't have to be one that you won. It don't have to be, you know, one that went the distance. But were there any adversities? And what was it about that fight that you found so rewarding? If you can share with us.
You know me, brother. The one fight that I class as a reward is the fight where I fought one championship. And obviously the situation wasn't good, you know, the way I went there. But it was a massive, massive opportunity. And for me, why I class that as a reward is firstly, the whole atmosphere different. It was a different ball game, you know, to where I've been fighting. As you know, I've been fighting locally to a world stage. Like as you can imagine, like even me fighting locally, you know, it was madness. But for me to jump to that big stage was just another level. And it's crazy how that journey started because I class it as a reward, just because like just getting that phone call, you know, was shocking. You know, I remember my manager at one point, I was going to actually fight on Combat Challenge. So the aim was to fight in December. So I went on a few holidays. I thought before I have the Combat Challenge camp, it'll be like 5-6 weeks. I'll get a camp. I'll get ready for that. But as you know, with that year, I was building up my pro record. I was kind of getting back into the rhythm of it. So, you know, it was just a plan that I was going through. And I remember just coming back from holiday the following week, I just got this phone call off my manager saying, "Look, Furqan, what's your weight?" And I'm like, "Look, I'm quite heavy, brother. I'm not at my normal weight. I've been eating a lot." And he said, "Look, Furqan, I've got there's an opportunity that's come by. It's a big, big fight. It's Pakistan versus India." And at that point, Seth, I just rejected it because you know that you know yourself, you know, with the stage between Pakistan and India, it's massive. And me personally, for a fight like that, I want to be prepared. So I declined it. I was like, look, you know, brother, I'm not interested. I'm a bit overweight as well. I don't think, you know, I'm gonna make, you know, the weight anyways. And I've not had no training camp. I've just come from holiday. You know, I'm not ready. And he says, okay, no worries. So after a few hours, called me again. He said, right, Furqan, I can reveal which show it is. And he just says one championship. And I'm like, what? And he's like, one championship. And I was shocked, bro. You know, when he said one championship, that was the point where I couldn't refuse. I thought, right, I need to, you know, do something about this. So he said, look, Furqan, what is your actual weight? I said, right, bro, I'll be honest with you. My weight's at 87 so kg. You know, I am a little bit heavy. He said, right, it was the Friday night. He says, I want you to lose that weight. And I'm like, what's the aim? What we're getting down to? He said, you're going to get down to 77. You're going to have to do it. I'm like, wow, okay, fair enough. So even the fight wasn't confirmed then. They were still having a meeting regarding myself. So he said, look, I'm going to get back to you in a few days, but you start dropping your weight. So from that Friday, Seth, I just started losing my weight, started dropping it down. And I remember on the Saturday, I messaged him. I said, look, bro, I'm dropping the weight. It's coming down a little bit. What's going on? He's like, look, I still ain't got confirmation, but please carry on. I'm like, yeah, but it's a bit difficult, this, you know. The way I'm dropping it is quite difficult. And he's like, no, just go for it. And I thought, okay, fair enough. So it came to like the Monday morning, you were like probably, oh, Mario, crazy, like 3-4 in the morning. My phone was just buzzing away. And I'm thinking, who the hell's ringing me at this time? I was, you know, brother, in UK, it was supposed to ringing at 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Something's going wrong. So yeah, I picked the phone up and he said, right, I've got a flight booked for you. What is your weight? I said, this is my weight. And gradually my weight started coming down. He's like, right, that's fine. I've got the fight. I've got the contract signed. It's going to get emailed to you. you need to get onto this flight. I'm like, what flight? And he's like, yeah, you need to get to Manchester Airport about 6, 7 o'clock.
On that
And I'm
day?
scratching my head on that day, bro. And I was like scratching my head thinking, what the hell? So obviously they don't know the locality, etc. So I said to him, I said, look, Rizwan, I says, I'm based in Yorkshire. I'm going to go to Manchester to get the flight. I said, bro, it takes a bit of time. Plus, I need to check in. Plus, the other things, I need to see my family. I can't just disappear, get onto flight. He says, look, get your gum shield, get your shorts, get on that flight. I'm like, bro, look, I'm going to be very honest with you. I'll take the fight. I don't care. I've been quitting the weight. I'm ready. I'll go for it. I don't care. You know what? I'm going to accept it. It's a big opportunity. But please, brother, give me a bit of time. So luckily enough, he negotiated. He managed to get an evening flight. I contacted Tani at that point, who was my boxing coach. I also contacted Jamie. Tani could make the flight, so we got Tani on the flight, and we set off in the evening. Still, bro, that journey was crazy because I was cutting weight. So we went on the Qatar Airlines, jumped on Qatar Airlines. Tani's there eating whatever he wants, and I'm there, bro, just struggling, dying, man, just trying to cut weight. So yeah, that flight, it took like, I remember, bro, it was like 19 hours or 21. It was 19 hours, I think it was, something like that. Really, really long flight. Had 2 stops. Um, and when I got to Singapore, so it was on that Monday we set off. I got to Singapore, I think it was a Tuesday night. So then obviously their timings were totally different to us. And then we jumped on to Wednesday, where obviously they start looking at my weight. They told me about the show, etc. Going through the whole protocol, going for scans. It was mad. So, bro, what I did was, like with the weight cut, it's hydration passing weight. So you have to make sure you pass the hydration test. And for me, it was big weight. So what I did was, obviously, I was going outside the hotel, just trying to cut weight, trying to lose that weight, try doing everything possible to cut the weight. And during that period, bro, I had to do like these media obligations. I had to go do a brain scan. I had to do an eyesight test. They had to check my blood test. Everything. We were just so busy. I had to go to rules meeting. It was just mad. And then during that period, I have to cut weight. So it was horrible. But again, the experience was crazy. And then obviously we got on to cutting the weight. Moved on to Thursday, did the weigh-ins, just about made the weight, passed the hydration, and then we were ready to go on the Friday. And I fought Rahul on the Friday, and yeah, it was just crazy, Seth. The whole experience, man. I remember, like, even there's been fights where even locally, I'm quite a nervous guy before a fight, so like all sorts goes through my head, and just going in front of 15,000 were just mad.
What did you know about Rahul and his background? And if you talk us through the fight.
Bro, you know what it was with Rahul, like, I couldn't really do much research because I'm trying to cut weight and I was just focused on myself. So I really didn't do much research on him. But I knew, obviously he's a brown belt in Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And also I knew, he's a good wrestler. So yeah, for me, I didn't really do much research on him. For me, it was just more or less, right, I'm just going to go into that fight and just try as much as I can. And it was crazy, man. When I like entered there, like the whole atmosphere was just mad. But when I got into the cage, when I got into the ring, I just switched on. I thought, right, I'm gonna just try my best and give it as much as I can. And it was very hard because I did a big weight cut. I lost about probably about 9 kilos or something like that during that period. So it was a lot of weight I lost. And bro, like when I was fighting with Rahul, like each time when you were holding me, each time when I was throwing a punch, my energy levels were just dropping, and I could feel it. I felt too weak. I didn't feel strong at all, and it just didn't feel right for me, that fight. Like even sometimes when I threw a punch, I could see it. I was missing him, and just nothing felt right because obviously I didn't do no sparring. So the fight itself was kind of for me to kind of like just survive. And obviously I did survive towards the end of like second round, and then he managed to get submission. And even sometimes now when I watch back that fight, I see too many errors. But now I accept it, bro, because after that fight I got a contract, and now I've got the opportunity to go back and fight. So I take that as a reward. As you mentioned, that's something that's a big reward for me because I learned a lot from that fight. I realized, what, Furqan, you need to act like a professional. You need to really focus on your training. You need to put 100% into this, because it was a lesson, bro. Even though I went on holiday, the problem with my training regime used to be was when I've had my fight, that's it. I'll be on a long break. I'll be away from the gym. I'll go chilling. I'll go on holiday. I'll enjoy it. And then that's it. I've got a fight, right? Yeah, 6 weeks into camp or whatever. And it wasn't a good routine, where now I've decided how I'm going to continue my training is, even if I do go on holiday, I'm always going to stay active. I'm still going to be in the gym. And even if I do go on holiday, I'll be at a gym over there. I'm just going to keep my lifestyle about training, about keeping a good way, eating good, keep it a balanced lifestyle where I'm not torturing my body. I'm kind of ready for the fight. So my attitude's changed, from that fight, and that fight I find it very rewarding, because even though I lost that fight, that loss has made me learn so much about myself, and it's made me into a much better person, and I've got a much better attitude from that loss.
Furqan, you're on this MMA conveyor belt, and now you're fighting at one championship, which is a Premier League when it comes to mixed martial arts. There'll be other people on this conveyor belt just a bit further down from you. From your knowledge and experience, what advice could you give to those fighters?
Just put your 100% in the gym. Like nowadays you see it a lot. And again, I'm going to be one of the examples where you put too much time on social media, but you don't put enough time in the gym. And that's what I used to do before. I think it's really important. You need to put your time in the gym. Like before I used to train, sometimes 2, 3, maybe 4 times a week. But again, it wasn't as many sessions. I wasn't, putting my 100% into it. And I feel as if you really want to do this, you need to at least, 6 days a week, just put that full 100% grind into this. And then whatever's meant to be for you will happen. But the main thing is you need to be satisfied with yourself, knowing that you're giving your 100% in the gym and giving your full efforts, and trusting your coaches, trust the process of your coaches, trust your training regime. And from there, whatever's meant to be will happen.
Furqan, I have really enjoyed this podcast, and I look forward to having you on further podcasts in the future. Thank you so much for your time, and inshallah, I'll speak to you soon, my brother.
Yeah, thank you, brother, and I appreciate you giving me this time. But brother, I've got one question for you right now. I've been looking at that wall, bro. It's a bit, I don't know, there's something about that wall, bro. I think there's a hidden secret. So I want to know, brother, what's behind that wall? That's my question to you, man.
It's quite a solid wall. I mean, what do you want me to do? Punch it or something? What?
Bro, you know what I want to see? I want to see that elbow on that wall, because there's something, I don't know, bro. I'm not feeling that wall. There's something behind it. There's a secret behind it.
I think you've noticed something, haven't you?
I have, bro. I have, and I've been focused on it. So I just want to make sure.
You've put me on the spot now, so I'm gonna have to disclose it to all my viewers, right? Okay, so it's a really nice solid wall. It's not a virtual wall, it's behind me. So are you sure you want me to elbow it?
Brother, you know what it is? I know you too well. You're full of tricks, brother. There's something behind that wall I need to know. I knew it, bro. I knew it, man. I knew it. Oh, man. Listen, you're never going to change, you. You're never going to change.
Times are hard, brother Furqan.
Oh, man.
All right. Furqan, Jazakallah, man. I've really enjoyed having you on the podcast, and inshallah, I'll speak to you soon, my brother.
Inshallah, brother.
Khud Hafiz.